What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday, July 14th. Believe it or don't believe it. We have a lot to talk about. We have a full house for the first time in a while. We're going to talk a little bit about the USA basketball Olympic team. Not a good start. Conor McGregor, not a good finish. We're going to talk about Giannis. We're going to talk about the finals. Obviously, ESPN put out their top 10 2021 NFL quarterbacks. I think we have to talk about that. And so much more. The Wire starts right now. All right, let's get into it real quick, fellas. We got Trey returning. For Marvin and Richie, we know we were missing you last week. Trey, special guest last week, again today. Trey, how's it going, man?
It's going. It's hot out here still.
Out there in Vegas, walking and doing the show. That's dedication. Marvin, Sahi, Richie, how are you guys doing?
Doing great, brother. Glad to be back.
Good. Doing my thing, man. What's going on?
Ready to start, man. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Glad to have you guys all back in the building. Let's jump right into it. So we're going to start with something that I brought up last week because I thought that the USA Olympic basketball roster looked a little suspect. There were some killers on there, but they had an expedition game this week against Nigeria, prefacing the 2021 Summer Games. Now, Nigeria won the matchup 90-87. There's a few points that I want to bring up. My first question is this really the best squad that USA could have brought for the Olympics? Now, last week, I had my suspicions and I thought about it and I watched last week's episode and I'm like, wait a minute, what about Kawhi Leonard? What about James Harden? What about LeBron James? What about Steph Curry? Guys, let's start with Marvin. Is this really the best of the best for USA?
No, it's not. It's clearly not. I mean, you can see that from start to finish. I mean, when you look at the starting five, they're absent of a true point guard. You know, everybody is either like an ISO player or is used to having the ball at like a high usage. You know, especially Kevin Durant and Damian Lillard. You know, who pretty much are the two best players on the team. But I think that they just don't have a defensive core. So they're missing a lot of guys. You know, they're missing a Klay Thompson, you know, who's good with perimeter defense. They're missing the leadership of a LeBron. They're missing Kawhi's defense. They're missing a lot of pieces. You know, they just couldn't get any stops. And Kevin Durant, I mean, if you're the best player in the world, I mean, you can't get beat by Nigeria in the first round. Like, that just can't happen. I mean, we just can't let them off the hook like that. At least I'm not gonna. But I just think that, you know, it's an exhibition game. You know, they'll clearly get it together, but you can clearly see the holes in their offense and defense. They don't have a synchrony right now. They have great coaching, Greg Popovich, but it's going to be tough for them to really beat some of the toughest teams that are out there. You know, when they meet Luka's team, you know, that they're explosive, you know, already. And I don't think that, you know, Team USA has the guys defensively to get it done, you know. So I think they're in a hole right now and they got to figure it out, you know, before it gets worse.
Richie, some of those names that I expected to see, did you expect to see them as well? James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James? I mean, I know you don't like him, but Steph Curry?
The answer is no, I didn't expect to see any of them. One, Kawhi's injured, but outside of that, I didn't expect Steph Curry to be playing. He's played the last few. Same with LeBron, man. Then I get, we can talk about dream teams all the time, but the reality is outside of 92 and 96, for the most part, guys don't play that long. They don't play that many dream teams. And LeBron played like And Bron didn't play 4 years ago. So it's not like this isn't new. LeBron hasn't played. He didn't play 4 years ago. He's not playing this year. Dude's about to be a billionaire by the end of the year. He's got better things to do at this point. And if we're so good at basketball, then these guys should suffice. Now, let's not forget, like Marvin's point, we don't have a point guard that can distribute. Well, Drew Holiday is playing in the NBA Finals. He's supposed to be on the team, all right? Devin Booker's not there. Middleton's not there. So they're missing 3 players right there inherently. And then they drafted Kevin Love. And we're not going to get into the tokenism and all that. But the point is there are some shady, spots. But if you look at Bam, you look at Kevin Durant, and you look at this team should still be able to beat anybody in the world. And it's a matter of them not playing well, not the fucking roster. Pardon my language. It has nothing to do with the roster. It's that their lack of effort and their lack of playing defense. I mean, when you talk about, you got Draymond Green and you got Bam, 2 like perennial defenders right there. And then again, when Drew Holiday comes in for a point guard, fantastic defender. They have a roster that can easily win and should be able to win. And we can argue all day about superstars' obligations, but the bottom line is James Harden has done 4 of these, I think. LeBron James did 5, you know what I mean? Or 4 as well. Steph Curry did the last 2. And the dude's fucked up his knee and his ankles for years. These guys don't owe us that. Steph's getting old. He wants to maximize his NBA playing time. And, I don't think he owes anybody in this country an obligation for that. He wants to maximize his career, and he's earned it. LeBron James has earned it. Kawhi Leonard's injured, so we can't even say that about Kawhi. That's not even fair to him. KD's playing. KD don't need to play. Now, if KD wasn't playing, do I think we have a shot? Probably not, unless Dame hard carries us. But the bottom line is KD, we should be even thankful that KD and Dame are playing, because the reality is they don't have to be. And, at the end of the day, if we're the NBA country, and so to speak, and we project and always talk about we're the best, we're the best, we're the world's best, and the Europeans come here. Well, the bottom line is we just lost and we lose. And it's a thing that's happened. This isn't new. Even the 2000 team lost. We're not talking about the 92, 96 teams, but 2000s lost, 2004, 2000. I mean, it happens, and it does happen. And, when they did lose, and they didn't lose in the actual, losing my train of thought, Olympics, but they lost in the IBF, and LeBron was super pissed, and they came back and won in the Olympics. So long-winded rant, but we have a roster that can win, and they just need to play better. It's really that simple. And that's on the coaches. That's on Popovich, who's a veteran coach. And yes, they're short-staffed, as I just mentioned. They're missing 3 of their players. The bottom line is that's enough talent to win. They should have been able to win, and that's what they need to focus on.
Absolutely. Trey, we're going to switch up the question a little. Feel free to answer the initial question, which is, should we be seeing some of these other guys? We kind of talked a little bit about it last week. But my question for you is, do you think that with these 5, do you think that there's something specific other than defense that the team needs to do? Or could this potentially be more of, here on The Wire, we've been talking about it. This has been a really taxing year for everybody in the NBA. I mean, there was a short season in the bubble stacked on top of this, games, a shortened season. Could this be more of that rolling over into now trying to play other teams across the world, which, keep in mind too, Nigeria, I think, was 80% NBA players as well. But Trey, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Nigeria had 5 NBA players on it, but I think it's a combination of everything. I appreciate what Richie was saying. Like, these guys don't really owe us anything. Kawhi is hurt. James Harden is hurt, essentially. He's got a hamstring, I believe, which takes, months to get back from. And these guys are tired playing on a shortened season, still pushing it into, June now? I think they haven't had the time to gel. I think they need more than a month to come together. I think that they just try to throw a bunch of offense together. When Drew Holiday comes, we'll see how they are on defense. I think they need a big who can talk on defense. I think that's what they thought Bam was going to be. But we are supposed to be the best. I don't really see another team. And keep in mind, this was just the exhibition. This is just an exhibition, and we're missing, like Rich said, we're missing 3 players. We'll see. The original Dream Team lost to a bunch of, Chris Webber, Jamal Mashburn, Bobby Hurley. I mean, Grant Hill. We didn't really expect the Dream Team to lose to them in a real game. So let's just see what happens. We have been known to like take our foot off the gas. We did win the third place. Argentina won, I think, that year. But I mean, like KD says, you know who we are. You know who we are.
Sahi, what are your thoughts on either question? What are your thoughts about the first showing of the USA basketball team?
It is absolutely terrible. It is a disgrace to NBA basketball. These guys go in and year out to play for what? A world championship. So when you bring the world together, we should be blowing these guys out each and every time. These are the best players in the world. They get paid millions and millions of dollars to play the game of basketball. And when our country needs you, you got to step up, man. LeBron, Steph, you're not even in the playoffs this year. I don't know why you ain't on the team. You want to be the greatest shooter, show it on the world stage. This is where legends are made, and the legends aren't out there. And we got an okay team, a bunch of second fiddles.
Wait.
Kobe would never miss them.
Wait, Sahi.
That's not fair.
No.
He just called Kevin Durant and Dame Lillard second
He said a bunch
fiddle.
of second
He
fiddles.
just said that.
All right, yeah, you know the meme. Every team that wins the championship, Kevin Durant's going that way. You know what I'm saying? He wants to be the second fiddle. He doesn't want to be the lead guy. Yeah, I didn't put that on him. He put that on himself. You know what I'm saying? But I hope they win the Olympics. They got the talent to do it. Is it our best squad? No. But they should wipe the floor with the rest of the world. And I don't want anything less.
Does anybody want to? We got one more take on this, but does anybody want to rebut Sahi?
I think you're being a little harsh, my guy. Just a little bit, bro. A bunch of second fiddles. You know? I mean, I think honestly, let's not panic. Let's not panic. I mean, this is Coach Popovich we're talking about here. If at the very least, they're going to know how to run the offense. At the very least, by the time the Olympics comes around. He saw what he needed to see in this game, and then he's going to adjust. That's what he does.
I hope so. We hope so.
Bunch of second fiddles.
Oh, it's so good to have everybody back together.
Right.
All right, last question on this. We'll go around the horn. This is one of those quick takes. I just want to know who you guys think, which individual player on Team USA is under the most pressure to perform. We'll go in reverse order. So, Sahi.
It's got to be the guy I was mentioning before, Kevin Durant. He's the biggest superstar on the team. He's a guy that should be missing out on these early games because he should be playing for an NBA championship right now. But that's neither here nor there. It's hard to win it in your first year with a new team, even though he's been in the league for a while and shouldn't be switching teams all the time. But, you know what I'm saying? To answer your question, he's under the most pressure to perform. So, that's it. That's it for me. That's the only guy I see, because you don't have a lot of big name superstars. I mean, you got some guys that are rising. Maybe there's a guy that can take over, you know what I'm saying, in these Olympics and really grow his star. Maybe like a Devin Booker could come from winning the finals and lead Team USA to the gold medal on maybe a last winning shot or something. So we'll see. But for right now, it's Kevin Durant. He's been called the second best basketball player in the world for a little while now, and it's time to prove it. I think he knows that.
Trey, who do you think's under the most pressure?
I'm gonna go with Sahi. I'm gonna say Kevin Durant. We saw when they had the Redeem team, Kobe was a part of that team to bring that veteran leadership. I think KD, everyone's going to be looking at KD to carry us to the goal. Although, I mean, media-wise, but rightfully, like Saeed was saying, he's not a team leader. He's just a really, really, really good basketball player that can score. So I don't know, but my answer is Kevin Durant.
Richie, who do you think is under the most pressure to perform?
Nah, they're going with the low-hanging fruit. I'm going with who I really think is under the most pressure to perform, and that's Kevin Love. This guy has no business being on that damn rock. 12.7 rebounds. They had to put a white guy on there, and he's the only white guy that's from America, right? Because Luka Doncic is European. All these dudes are European that can score. So Kevin Love is absolutely under the most pressure. He's requested to be released from the Cavaliers, and this is the not joke part of it. He wants to be signing on a veteran's minimum to a winner. Well, you need to prove it to people because his Cleveland performance last year was terrible, honestly. And he quit on the team, and that's why they ended up benching him, right? So he was showing like kind of like a little diva attitude. Now he has an opportunity to redeem himself. So in my opinion, in all seriousness, he does need to prove to a potential suitor that if they do buy his contract out in Cleveland, that he's worth taking a chance on. Because right now, like, I wouldn't take a chance on the guy. He wants to go to Golden State and he wants to go to Los Angeles. Those are the two rumored spots. And, you know, based on his last couple years, I wouldn't want anything to do with that guy. So to me, in all seriousness, I think he's got the most to prove, not for the country, but for his own future.
Marvin, we've heard Kevin Love and KD. Who do you think has got the most to prove? Who's under the most pressure on the USA squad?
Well, I'm just going to have to join the bandwagon here. I think all the pressure's on KD. I mean, I think I got to disagree with you, Sahi. I mean, lately, for the last few months, I mean, a lot of analysts have given Kevin Durant the title of the best player in the world. And I mean, even myself at times, I even thought that he's the best player in the world based on that Bucks series, dropping a 49-point triple-double in that game. I mean, that was just a historic performance. And I'm thinking after that, I'm like, if you go to Team USA, he should just continue this, like, he should just continue his performance. But, you know, we got to see it, you know, because the way he got blocked the other night, did y'all see that?
Yeah.
Did y'all see the way he got blocked? Like, I haven't even seen that in the league. Like, I haven't even seen that. I don't even think that's happened on 2K. But it's crazy. KD just show out in the playoffs, but almost it seemed like he's a different guy this first exhibition game. So I just think he's got a lot of pressure to mount up to. But like Allen, I mean, you got a great coach and Greg Popovich, and that makes adjustments. And if you got one of the greatest coaches of all time, he can definitely coach one of the greatest scorers of all time and hopefully give him some leadership qualities to take back to Brooklyn, because we all know that's a mess right now. So I think all the pressure's on KD to kind of step up to be a leader. You know, can he lead Team USA to the goal? And can he be universally known as a leader? Can he go to Brooklyn and show that he, like, you know, the team can rally around him? Because, you know, we didn't see that in the Bucks series. You know, he, you know, put up a lot of points, but he wasn't able to bring the other guys with him. You know, so he's got to prove that now. I mean, there's a lot of guys on the roster that can hold their own. Dame Lillard can hold his own, but KD got to bring all these guys with him.
No, I hate to make this segment any longer, but Marv, that's blasphemous. I know he's a LeBron James stan. Marv loves LeBron James. How dare you even say for a second Kevin Durant's better? He had one amazing game, and I'm not disputing that, bro. That's one of the greatest triple doubles I've ever seen. What happened the next game? Dude crapped out. He was tired. LeBron James every single game plays like that. Maybe not 50 points every single game. Come on, Marv.
But it's no disrespect to LeBron. I'm just saying KD is a different animal when it comes to scoring the basketball, bro. Like,
yes, scoring, but what we said was best player on the planet. There's more than just scoring for that title.
Facts.
There's more to that title.
When you look at what he did that game, I mean, he proved that he could be more than just a scorer.
Oh, he can, but he can't do that game in, game out, is what I'm saying. I don't believe he can. Not every single game.
I mean, yeah, but we all know LeBron James can roll out of bed and get 27, 8, and 8.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I agree.
So.
And KD went 49, like 15 and 20. I mean, he had one of the best games I've ever seen in my life. But I'm telling you, what happened the next game is what would happen to him every time, because he's not built like that. He's like 205 pounds and he's 7'10". Come on, guys.
That's why he's got to be that guy.
I don't ever get involved. I don't ever get involved in these arguments, but I will say only one of them is currently playing to be best on the planet. Anyway, it's time to move on. We had a UFC event that we prefaced last week. We had to talk about it because Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier were going to put the trilogy to bed in a third bout, and they did. We're going to be back in our order. Marvin, McGregor could not continue to fight after one round of competition in the third bout against Dustin Poirier this Saturday. He did suffer a left ankle injury and a whole barrage of strikes. Let's be honest, he was losing the round that led to the TKO ruling in the fight. Now, I got a doubleheader. We're going to go around the horn with it. Marvin, is it time for Conor to throw in the towel? And if not, then should he be pursuing a fourth fight like all the analysts are already asking and wanting to know about? Or should he move on to find momentum somewhere else in the division? What do you think?
I think that he should be given the fourth fight. He loses this fourth fight, he's done. Like, I just think that he should walk away because, I mean, it could be said that he just does not look the same. I mean, he honestly looks like a shell of himself. I watched that fight from start to finish. He got some shots in there, but he had no momentum. Like, anytime he gave Dustin Poirier a shot, Dustin Poirier came right back and, was just pummeling him. And I just don't think that at all the fights that we've seen Conor in and how dominant he's been, like, from at the start, because he's a very aggressive fighter right from the start and, knocking dudes out. We haven't seen that fire in him. I just don't see it anymore. I think that when we watched the press conferences, we all got into the hype and him just barking again and talking shit, talking shit about somebody's wife, really getting personal, trying to go back to his old ways. And I just didn't buy into it. I just felt like Dustin Poirier is at a point in his career where, that stuff doesn't really bother him. He's got a level of mental toughness that Conor can't penetrate him now. He can't get under his skin. And you've seen that during the fight. He made it real, it got real personal, especially at the end. That was a gruesome injury. And for him to be sitting on the mat, just like he was the last fight and yelling for the stoppage, and insulting the man's wife, I'm like, yeah, this is a wrap. This is like what we've seen, like the downfall of Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was still it reminded me of that. Mike Tyson was barking at opponents, still trying to intimidate them, was wilding out, saying some outlandish things. We all seen the interviews. But, it just reminded me of that, a guy that was trying to get that edge back and just knows it's just not there anymore. I mean, he's comfortable, he's well off. And I really think that he just might have to throw in the towel at this point in his career. I really don't see him fighting or competing for another title. He's not better than Dustin Poirier. I think Poirier's got the edge. He's just a better fighter, especially the better wrestler. I mean, the guy's just better. I mean, he looks bigger. I mean, he looks visibly bigger since the first fight. So, I mean, we all knew Conor going into this fight he didn't have it. We knew the confidence was there. We knew the bravado. We knew the swagger was going to be there. We knew he's the best showman in UFC history. Like, from what I see, I mean, even if you don't watch a Conor McGregor fight, I don't mean for this to go so long, but if you don't watch a Conor McGregor fight, you just know he can entertain. That's what he does. He's box office. So that's all this was. I was disappointed in the fight. I thought it was trash, just like the rest of the fights I had seen before it. It was very disappointing. Do I want to see a fourth fight? Okay, but Dustin's going to lay him out. And that's just it. Give him 6 months to recover from the broken tibia, but Dustin's going to lay him out again. And that's when I think that he should just walk away because it's a wrap. It's over.
Richie, is it time for Conor to throw in the towel? And if not, should he pursue the fourth fight or look elsewhere?
Super simple. I don't want to go too much. I don't want to give this man any space, realistically. This is no different. This is this type of mismatch that was Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather. It's really at that point as well. Poirier, put it this way, McGregor is a striker. As Marvin said, he's very aggressive. And when he was successful, it was because he was very proficient at kicking people. Poirier and him fought. He went to the clinch 2.5 minutes in. When I saw him clinch, I knew he had no shot. If you're a striker and you're afraid of your opponent striking you, you've lost. The fibia and the tibia, it got broken during the fight. It wasn't just the ankle, and it ended up being 2 fractures. And it's because he was leg kicking because he was trying to do Muay Thai. But again, he's a businessman. What this man should do is stop trying to do both, because he's no longer going to be successful in MMA, and he's made $600 million off of his whiskey. Like, go stick with your business. I also don't appreciate the whole he's going to kill him in his sleep and his wife and all these. It was disgusting behavior. If you want to do that, that should be more like professional wrestling, where you both agree on both parties to say things you don't mean. And of course, he doesn't mean it. But again, to Poirier, if you're disrespecting my wife, like, he's lucky that man's that classy, because if he was telling me he's going to kill my wife in my sleep while his leg's broken and I'm standing over top of him, I probably would have done something different, put it that way. So I think the man doesn't deserve an opportunity against Poirier. I think he shouldn't look for any other opportunities. To me, it's a complete mismatch, and it's not a freak accident, because if you watch it again, it was the leg checks and his leg basically caved in, and it was from all that pressure of getting hit. And what needs to happen is, if that was his goal and that was their camp strategy, then they have to, like anything in Muay Thai, you have to build your legs. You have to build them strong enough muscle to actually deal with that. That's what happened to Anderson Silva towards the end of his career, is he wasn't working his legs and his leg just snapped in half. And that's what happens when you try to leg check and your leg can't take the abuse. Poirier fights with killers day in and day out. And that's why that man has improved since 2012. He's incredible now. And, again, if McGregor had been training like he used to, this could have been a different fight, but he hasn't done that in years. At this point, he just wants easy paychecks. Obviously, him breaking his leg isn't easy, but you understand what I'm saying. So I don't believe this man deserves that opportunity. I'd rather just see the man be successful in his business ventures elsewhere. I want to see actual competitive people who want to fight for the right reasons and not just make a big payday.
We even saw it with Mirko Krokop, a predominant kicker that leg gave out over time. Trey, same question. Is it time for Conor to throw in the towel? If not, what should he do next?
I think Conor should continue to get them checks, dog. Get them checks. Fight whoever and whenever. Fight Jake Paul, fight his brother, fight whoever's going to stand in front of you. Conor McGregor is the greatest. He's the greatest marketer that sport has ever seen. And that's what all of the I'll kill your wife, even after the fight, after he broke his leg, he still thinks that he was going to come in the second round and do something. Like, we know what he is. He's a great street brawler who has some technique. And while everyone else has evolved and gotten better and done something different, he doesn't fight with his head. He's 1,000%, I'm about to fight you standing up. And we're about to go blow for blow. And he's 43 and he can't do that anymore. I think he understands that, but people keep paying him to fight. So as long as he's collecting checks, I'm talking like big checks, as long as he's collecting checks, I mean, who am I to tell him not to do it? I don't think it's watchable at this point. I think him being an MMA fighter, him going against we saw him against Khabib. I mean, it's not a challenge for these guys. He's not even top 10 in his class. Like, it is what it is, but people keep spending money for his fight. So if people are going to keep spending money, who are we to tell them to not fight? Like, all right, get another 25 million, get another 10 million, whatever. That's how I feel about it. But as a MMA fighter, he's garbage. And I'm not saying that I could beat him because I'm not a professional fighter, but in that world, I think everybody knows what he is and they know exactly how to beat him. It's a cakewalk for them. It's an easy payday.
Tahi, last week when we brought up this fight, you said Conor absolutely has to win. I brought the story back for you, my man. He didn't win.
Yeah. But to me, he doesn't lose either. that first round, I know people say, well, Dustin Poirier was whooping on him here and there. But before they went to the ground, Conor was looking good, leg kicking, getting in some shots. Even when he was on his back, he was landing elbows. He was landing shots. It's just unfortunate his leg snapped. So to me, when something like that happens in a fight, you got to run it back. You got to, if you're able to run it back, because it's not like Dustin Poirier attacked the leg and it broke, or he did like some sort of special move and was like, and like pointed at his leg, and McGregor fell and his like leg was broke. He was like, "How'd you do that?" He just happened to step wrong, and he'll be back. He'll be back stronger than ever. Like, you can go back and look at Conor McGregor in interviews. He always says people criticize the way he plays the game, but what people don't realize is he owns the game. Conor McGregor is UFC. Without a star like, because who's going to sell tickets like that in the UFC nowadays? Who's the biggest star in UFC right now? Francis Ngannou? No. They're already trying to give his title. They're trying to give his title away.
Give it away.
Amanda Nunes. There's nobody for her to fight. She's not that huge of a star.
Maybe she should fight Conor McGregor.
She should fight a dude and see where that goes. But you're right. They're caught.
It won't happen. It won't work out too good for her.
Yeah. I think you're right, Saeed. They're caught in this awkward transition where they don't have another star to uphold the UFC. So they have to lean on Conor. It's sad.
They have one, but the guy's an idiot. John Jones. John Jones is the greatest fighter to ever fight, ever. But that guy can't stay out of his own way.
So my friend.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Wait a minute. We got to pause everything. That was a GOAT alert.
A GOAT alert.
That is
we got a next week.
Greatest fighter of all time. And it comes to the UFC specifically, right, Sahi?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Do we
UFC.
Do we have anybody that can protest that next week?
I am protesting that. We will talk about it next week.
Moving on next week.
I don't remember which episode it was, but I think I agreed with Sahi on one episode.
He did agree about.
I think I did.
He did, and I disagreed. But we will talk.
Okay, it'll be hard to find somebody better than John Jones, but we'll do it. We'll do it.
All right,
we'll do it.
We are coming to the break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA Finals, and we have got to cover whatever this top 10 quarterback list is. Whoever came up with this, I guess I'll have to figure that out. You're watching The Wire. Don't go anywhere. We have definitely covered the greatest.
We did it before,
but we'll see.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's round two.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back to The Wire. Whew, we got a GOAT alert already. We talked about Conor. We talked about a lot already, but let's get into what's going on, what everybody's waiting to see tonight, right now, actually going on right now, the NBA Finals. First off, Giannis, I'm not even going to, I know Marvin, you're up first. You'll say his last name correctly. I've been trying for 3 seasons and I can't get it right. Giannis is now the third ever NBA player to post back-to-back 40-point double-doubles in the NBA Finals. Obviously, we had LeBron and Shaq prior to that. Now, as it stands, like I said, today, going into tonight's game, Phoenix is leading the Bucks 2-1. Marvin, my first question for you is Giannis the most important player in the NBA Finals? If not, then who?
The most important player in the NBA Finals, I think, is Chris Paul. But I think Giannis Antetokounmpo, that's for you, Justin, I think he's the most important player for his Bucks team. I mean, obviously, he's got to bring along his other 2 All-Stars, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, who are playing a lot better than they were in game 1 and 2. And if they can, if he can bring those two guys along while he's scoring 40, I mean, they have a huge chance in this series, and it's going to be a long series if he continues to dominate, inside and out the paint. I mean, because they're giving him shots on the perimeter, and if he's knocking them down, I mean, they're willing to let him live with that. They're willing to live with that shot. But one thing they can't give up is just 40 points almost inside the paint. They can't do that if you're the Phoenix Suns. So I think Giannis is the most important player to his team, because if he's out, if he was out with that injury for a long period of time, then they would be down 3-0, if you ask me. I mean, even though, their flow was a little bit better with Giannis being out against the Hawks. But when you're going up against Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, you need to be fully loaded. So Giannis seems to be healthy, and if he's healthy, I think that the Suns could be in some trouble if they lose this game 4.
Richie, is Giannis the most important player in the finals?
Come on, man. You got this. Antetokounmpo. You can say it with me. To me, yes. I disagree with Marv. I mean, don't get me wrong. CP3 is the leader and very important to Phoenix. But to me, this is about Giannis. Forget the Shaquille O'Neal-like numbers and the LeBron, whatever you want to call them. The incredible display in Game 2 and Game 3 that he had. And forget about his role players. They matter, but let me explain. It's really this simple. If he shoots 13 for 17 from the free throw line, they're going to win every time. The story that was with the Nets is, and I know Marvin, at least I feel this way about Marvin probably too. I was watching Giannis and I was watching him take these jumpers and jumpers and jumpers, and he was missing. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's Gumby. Just run up and dunk the stupid ball, dude. Nobody can stop you. And if you look at what happened with DeAndre Ayton, what was the story of Game 3? A lot of people talk about Giannis and the free throws, which don't get me wrong, but it was also Ayton was in foul trouble because the dude cannot stop Giannis, and they're still Singer covering him. They have to double him and make somebody else lose. And that's why I think he's the key to this, regardless of both teams, because at the end of the day, Giannis is who the Suns have to play around. It's not about whether Drew Holiday is successful and Chris Middleton, which don't get me wrong, when that dude scoring, you're done. And he had a great game 3. But it's Giannis. You're playing around Giannis. And when sometimes the problem with the kid is he goes in these little sprees where he's like, you know what? I'm going to work on my jumper in the middle of a playoff game. And he just starts shooting jumpers. And you're just like, why? James Harden was hobbling on one leg and he squared him up and took a leaning jumper, fadeaway. I'm like, what are you doing? And so to me, when he plays running and dunking and playing in the paint and using that frame that pretty much nobody can stop, that to me is going to be the difference. In Game 2, the story between Game 2 and Game 3 is he got the calls versus he didn't get the calls. And that's where Phoenix can potentially win, is if he's not getting those calls, they won't win. But to me, it starts and ends with Giannis. If Middleton and Holiday score 60 points, but Giannis isn't effective, they're not going to win the game. And that's the unfortunate thing. I watch Milwaukee a lot. I like the team, and we even talked about it. I love their defense. I love the pickup for Holiday. But as you could see, when Giannis wasn't playing with them, those two were able to play and be in mold. But when Giannis is playing, they sit back and watch. And that's not going to change in this series. So to me, Giannis is the key for both franchises, because if he's on fire and he's running and he's dunking and he's making those free throws, they can't win, because that's what they were trying to do. They were hacking him. And for the coach to sit there and whine, and I love him, Monty's great, but for him to whine about that he had more free throws than their team, well, here's an idea: stop intentionally fouling him. The reason he has so many free throws is you were fouling him intentionally, because he doesn't normally historically make free throws. He's a 56% shooter, and he went 13 for 17. Now, they ended up winning by 20 plus points, but my point in the anomaly is if he's in the paint and he's dominating, to Marvin's point on the points in the paint, and he's making his free throws, there's nothing Chris Paul can do. There's nothing Devin Booker can do, and there's nothing Ayton can do. Now, I don't believe his game 3 will transition to a game 4, and that's where his role players will have to at least step in. But if he plays a game like game 3 for the rest of the series, and I'm not going to hold it against the man, because look at his game 2. Then who knows? Game 1, he was injured, and he still put up 20 points. So he's clearly not that injured. And to me, that's why he's the difference maker. I think CP3 is one of the most underrated point guards of all time. And I love his leadership, because one thing I'll tell you about that dude is he's a dog. Wherever he goes, that team's better. And when he leaves, they fucking suck. So Phoenix, you better hold on to him as long as you can, because I'm telling you, the moment he leaves, they're going to suck. I don't care that they have Ayton and Booker. It's just history. Look at the Clippers. Look what happened. Well, first look at the Hornets, then look at the Clippers, then look at the Rockets, now look at the Thunder, and now he's on Phoenix. So as soon as he's gone from Phoenix, they're going to suck. And it's just reality. And so in his career, Chris Paul clearly is one of the greatest. I personally am rooting for him to win a championship, but I think Giannis is clearly the most important player. He's just too dominant.
Well, that's the question at hand. Trey, what do you think? Is Giannis the most important player in the NBA Finals?
Quick answer, yes. And I'll try to make this brief. But just to double down, well, not double down, but to add to what you guys are saying, Giannis scored 40 points in game 2 and they still lost. So it's about the way that they scored. Clearly, Monty Williams is going to have to make an adjustment. He's going to have to, quote unquote, build that wall to force him to take jump shots. But in game 2, he took 5. He was 1 for 5 and 3. If you can get him to make jump shots, if you can get him to take jump shots and not live in the paint, he owned the paint last game. I think he only had 2 shots outside of the paint, and then those 2 were like mid post. You know what I mean? If he can get him in the paint, if he can get his living in the paint and hit 13 out of 17 free throws, you're gonna lose. What I will say is Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton have to be average at the very least. If he's going to do that, if they're going to watch him play, they have to be average at the very least. So clearly, like, Giannis is the key, but it's the way he gets his shots and how evolved his role players are. And we call them role players. They're both all-stars at one point.
3 first-round picks. 3 first-round picks for Holiday.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Holiday's a max player. Middleton's a max player. Giannis is a max player. So we see Giannis can get 40 whenever he wants. It's just how he gets it and how efficient that 40 is. If he's going to take 5 threes, they're going to lose. They're going to lose.
Sahi, we're waiting to hear it. I'm afraid to send it to you. Is Giannis the most important player in the NBA Finals?
No, he's not the most important player at all. The most important player is not really a player. It's a collection of players. And that is the bench of the Phoenix Suns. Because if they can play like they played last night for the rest of the series, the Phoenix Suns are going to win it all. Because Devin Booker isn't going to have a game like he had last night again. I believe that the Bucks have no chance. You know what I'm saying? Any team out the East, I was talking to a friend of mine, any team out the East besides the Nets didn't have a chance to win the finals against most of the teams in the West. Maybe if the Milwaukee Bucks matched up against the Dallas Mavericks in the finals, then yeah, Giannis would have been the most important player in the finals. But you know what I'm saying? He's not the best player on the court. You got CP3, a legend. You got Devin Booker out there, young Kobe.
Wait.
So
let's talk about the
Wait a second. He's not the best player on the court?
No.
The former back-to-back defensive player of the year and MVP is not the best player on the court.
What was his stat line? It was like 42, 12, and 8, and he's not the best player on the floor.
Let's do this. Raise your hand if you want to rebuttal.
Obviously not. They're down 2-1. You know what I'm saying? And it took an off night from Booker for them to get a game. You know what I'm saying? So he's definitely not. the best, most important player to me, in my opinion. It's really Devin Booker, but I'm going with the Phoenix Suns bench because they got to back up that guy. You know what I'm saying? Devin Booker can't do it all himself, even though he probably actually could, but on a night-to-night basis, it's not going to happen. So, yeah, Giannis, he's a great player. He's the Greek freak. You know what I'm saying? They call him that for a reason because he's a freak of a basketball player. But the best, I don't know. When you got the visiting crowd clowning you on your free throw routine, you can't be the best to me. Free throws is free throws. That's easy. The best player knocked those down without problem.
In the world at airball free throws.
My man, Stack Jack said,
right.
Hey,
Stack Jack said, there's no way. My man,
Shaquille O'Neal, hello,
Right.
people. One of the greatest players of all time. Couldn't shoot a
The
free throw
most
if he
dominant.
tried.
Okay. Oh,
I don't think we've seen Shaq airball free
You
throws.
got me.
Oh no,
You got
he's
me.
definitely airballed free throws. I have to bring a clip. I'm
not
telling
two in
you.
a row
As
like
many as
Giannis. Giannis will do it in multiple games in a row.
Right.
Shaq's never done that.
I don't know. I'll go check the tape. I believe for sure. Y'all have to remember. Now Giannis is probably worse. Probably. Now career-wise, he's technically better because I think he's 54 and I think Shaq was 52. But they have definitely airballed. I will say this to Trey's point. I do not know and I cannot confirm if Shaq has airballed 2 consecutively. But I'm going to look into that because I wouldn't put it past Shaquille O'Neal to have airballed 3 in a row, quite frankly, because that man would have scored 44 points a game.
Defense, he's shooting with one hand.
Yeah, that's what, right. He would
Giannis
just,
is using 2 hands.
well, that's the
Giannis
point though. Like, he was so scared. He would hold the ball like this and he couldn't even throw the ball like right, man. Big guys just can't do it. They're so tall and the ball is so small in their hands. They don't know what to do. It is what it is, man. Has there ever, like Wilt Chamberlain, the season he averaged 50 points a game, his free throw shooting was 50%. Can you imagine if he didn't suck at that? Like, that's just how it goes, man.
I mean,
Like, don't be
Porzingis
hating on
free throws.
Giannis. Dude, whoa, hold on. Mute his mic. He should never be allowed to talk. How dare you talk about Kristaps Porzingis?
Kristaps.
He's some sort of... Can you believe the word? I can't even believe that, Trey. No, I know this guy knows sports, but that was blasphemous to open your mouth and say Kristaps Porzingis when we're talking about great centers. I'm not talking about a dude that had one good season, allegedly raped a woman and got traded and hasn't been able to play since. I'm talking about
Hasn't been good at basketball since.
that boy has not been ever since that accusation.
He's been trash.
He's been trash. I'm just saying.
All right, let's work our way back up the lineup. Sahi, looking at the gameplay, what has been your biggest takeaway from the finals thus far going into Game 4, which is playing right now?
It's been a good series. It's back and forth. I was hoping that the Phoenix Suns wouldn't run away with it, even though I ultimately believe that they're going to have too much for the Milwaukee Bucks, and they're going to walk away with it. But I've been saying I hope it's 7 games. I hope they give us something that we can, remember for a few years to come. Because if you look at it, we haven't seen a finals without LeBron James in a long time. So this is something that we're going to have to remember for a long time, because you never know. The Lakers might, reload and be back next year. Like, I hope they do. Make some moves. But it's been wild. There's no real hype around the finals this year because you don't have a huge superstar, but you have some superstars in the making, and you know that somebody's legend is going to grow here. CP3 has a chance to submit his legacy. There's a lot going on in these finals that's outside the actual game, as NBA fans are going to be able to remember for a long time. So this season after COVID is going to be a one for the for the memory that we'll always remember. Like, yeah, the finals that LeBron was finally out the finals, and we got to see Chris Paul finally get one. So I think it's going to have its like memorable moments, and it's entertaining to watch for sure. And I'm glad the Bucks have finally got a game in, so we don't see a sweep and it's over before it really gets started.
Absolutely. Trey, what's been your biggest takeaway from the finals thus far?
That the NBA is okay. I mean, you got the old guard going out. Some of the players that I watched coming in this game are now getting to retirement age, you know, and it's okay because we seen players step up. I mean, a couple years ago we saw Siakam come in out of nowhere. This past year we're watching Devin Booker go before our eyes. Last year we saw Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell. You know, the game is in good hands, and we have some of the most athletic players and skilled players in this game that we've ever seen. Some of the stuff that they're doing, like it's almost like 50 pointers are being dropped, like whatever. Oh, it's just a 50 pointer. I mean, Jason Tatum dropped 50 point. I mean, he had a 50 pointer. I mean, the series was a blowout, but he dropped he had a 50 point game. And once they start putting that, and these players are only 24, 25. They haven't even reached their prime yet. The prime's 27, 28, 29? Somebody's going to drop 90 points in a game, and we're going to be sitting here like, okay. So my takeaway from the playoffs is it's been as entertaining as we could hope for.
Absolutely. Richie, what about you, man? What's your biggest takeaway so far?
My biggest takeaway is that it's the rise of the big man again. I've been very much adamant on the small ball BS that's been going on for years. And my argument against it has always been not everybody is the Houston Rockets and the Golden State Warriors. And you have to play traditional ball unless you have transcendent players. And to see like the DeAndre Aytons of the world, and honestly, what we're discussing, even though he's not a center, Giannis, and playing that physical, you know, down low, and you know, not these prolific, although the Suns had 23 pointers in game one, not these prolific 3-point shootouts. It's very interesting that we're kind of getting a mix of teams. You know, you have that Philadelphia, and one of their weaknesses is they don't have the shooting, but they have the center. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing where the NBA is going to go. And to Trey's point, you know, you got Luka Doncic, you have all these fantastic 25 and under kids. And what I really appreciate is, you know, you're seeing, how do I want to say this? A mix and a myriad of center, forward, and guard. It's not like one group of people, because particularly in our generation, a lot of it was like mostly 2 guard and 3, like 2 and 3. And that's where all the superstars were. And you know, now you're seeing it 1 through 5, and you're seeing 5 shooting 3-pointers and being able to stretch and play defense and open up the game. And, you know, the pick and roll is a legitimate pick and roll. You leave Joel Embiid open on a 3, he's going to take the 3. And even though that's disgusting to say, because I'd rather the center be down low, the point is there's lots of talent. And I'm really excited about seeing this, you know, again, to the point earlier, LeBron James and Steph Curry since 2015 have been, somebody's been in the finals between them. So it's good to see. I'm glad to see the small markets being successful. It's weird to say Phoenix is a small market, but unfortunately it is. And, you know, I'm hoping regardless of the outcome of this, we don't rely on our superstars, to kind of Trey's point. And I will say, even though they're the old guard, they're our age, so I refuse to call them old. That's insane. They're 36 years old. Leave them alone. So Marv can take it away, but you know, I've enjoyed this finals. I hope it's 7 games, and I've really liked what I consider the more traditional ball. It's really cool to see like the point guards, the shooting guards, the centers. Almost everyone's getting involved, and it's not this just like pass the ball, hope you get a 3, and it's the percentage, you know, highest percentage statistically to win the game. I don't like that coin flip, and I really enjoy watching good basketball. Although Milwaukee's not always good basketball, because I don't know what to say. Budenholzer he needs to be fired. That's all I got to say. How can you have Giannis, Holiday, Middleton, and you're losing? Like, he's a terrible coach.
He can't make in-game adjustments.
Like,
that's who's gonna win.
Them speeches, Marvin. I'm sure you get on that. He's the most uninspiring coach I've ever seen in my life.
Play hard, go out there, Giannis, score 40. You got it, man. All right, team over.
And break.
And break. Let's go. You don't do that. You don't get that excited.
Marvin, you know the question, my man. What is the biggest takeaway for you so far?
Just to piggyback off what Richie said, the small market teams, man. Like, I mean, you want to call them? I mean, Atlanta. Like, you saw their run. Have Phoenix, Milwaukee. Like, it's just a change. Like, I've enjoyed watching it. This time around. Despite all the injuries to the big time stars, like Trey was saying, Jamal Murray, Kawhi, Kyrie, LeBron, AD. The list goes on. I mean, it was just crazy with the amount of injuries there were going into the postseason and in the postseason. But, I like Trey was saying, the league is in a good place right now. And it showed that it can withstand, anything, especially injuries like that. You got the young stars. And, the bench is like Sahi was saying earlier. That's the most important pieces because they are. The benches to these teams have been crucial because these young guys are getting to shine. Like, for example, Cameron Payne for Phoenix. He's been a good player for so many years. People always kind of knock him because he's always dancing for the game and stuff, but he can ball. He can ball, and he's been showing that with Phoenix. He's finally got his shine. Mikal Bridges. Guys like that, when you look at, Atlanta's roster, they're on the come up and see how far that they came. And it really didn't seem like the loss affected them. They just seem to have the confidence with their young core, with John Collins, Trey Young, Cam Reddish. Like they're good for their future. And if they add another superstar, these small market teams are going to be in the finals for years to come. And, that's not what we've been used to seeing. I want my Lakers to be in it, but if you got, these small market teams that are on the come up, it's going to be hard for these older teams that are kind of transitioning. These younger teams are starting to get the shine because it's a young man's game now. So it's really enjoyable to see the energy and the change of pace in the finals because nobody in this finals, even Chris Paul, has done load management. Like nobody, like everybody is healthy and wants to play. And I mean, it's been enjoyable to watch. Hopefully we can see at the end, Monty Williams and Chris Paul, get that Larry O'Brien because this story goes all the way back, since New Orleans days. So it'll be good for Chris Paul to, cap off a 16-year career, with an NBA championship with a team, a young group of guys that many said that he couldn't lead. People said he was washed up. People thought he was washed up when he went to OKC. I thought he was. I was like, he traded Russell for Chris Paul. I'm like, he's playing for OKC. I'm like, there's no way he's going to be motivated. He proved everybody wrong. Took that young course. So you saw that OKC team, and they got a lot of picks for the future. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with all those picks. But young man's game, and it's been fun to watch.
In 2030, Oklahoma City Thunder will be the greatest team. They have 57 picks.
2030. All right. Well, Marvin, on other podcasts, you have said that I rig when we play games, and I did rig the system today because I needed Sahi last on this one. We're going to talk about the NFL because the preseason is around the corner. The people are coming out of the woodworks. We're time to talk about something other than Aaron Rodgers, except for we are going to mention him. But then ESPN released something that I think was pretty interesting. Some stats this week they put out. The 2021, as of right now, top 10 QB list. Now, I'm going to read the list. We're going to go into reactions, and then you guys can hash it out. But
I think I know what you're getting to, but go ahead, man. Go ahead.
We're gonna start. I mean, I rigged it so that Sahi was last so that we could all get our words in. I didn't rig it against you this time.
Ready to get mad. Let's go.
First of all, we'll start at number 10, actually. Kyler Murray at 10. Number 9, Justin Herbert. Number 8, Lamar Jackson. Number 7, Dak Prescott. Number 6, Matthew Stafford. Number 5, Josh Allen. Number 4, Russell Wilson. Number 3, Tom Brady. Number 2, Aaron Rodgers. And number 1, Mr. Patrick Mahomes. Marvin, have at it.
Okay, I don't even want to ask who made this list, but correct me if I'm wrong. Was Matt Stafford ranked ahead of Dak Prescott?
Matt
Correct.
Stafford was
Is that-
indeed.
did I miss that? Was that right? Is that right?
Yes, number 5. Number 5.
Wow. Okay. All right. Let me just focus on that real quick. I'm gonna ask, how in the hell is Matthew Stafford better than Dak Prescott? I just want to know, how many postseason appearances has Matt Stafford been to? That's for anybody.
He was playing with the Lions.
It don't matter.
The Lions.
With the Lions. The last time they made it to.
Hold on. Let him have his words. Don't worry. We can all,
I'm just hoping that I
I'm
can
very
get it
pro
out.
Matt Stafford.
It's a level of disrespect. It's not even okay. Scratch the playoff appearances. Player to player, we all know who's better on this panel. It's Dak Prescott, and I just don't understand. I mean, you've got a guy that's got a great group of receivers, but Matthew Stafford, in my opinion, like I've said on many shows before, has done next to nothing in Detroit and in a whole total of his career. I just haven't seen it. And to rank Kyler Murray at number 10 and then Lamar Jackson for number 8. Why is Matthew Stafford ranked ahead of all these? Okay. It's just a level of disrespect. I don't get it. I really want to know who made this list. Because I'm emotional at this point, and I don't understand why. First of all, Aaron Rodgers would be ranked ahead of Tom Brady. Let's not forget, okay, I'm a Packers fan. Used to be a Packers fan. But I've had to watch Aaron Rodgers lose NFC Championship game after NFC Championship game. And this time, Tom Brady beat Aaron Rodgers to get that spot. So I don't understand why Tom Brady, a 7-time world champion, is not number 1 on this list, if not number 2. I mean, I could see if Pat Mahomes could get 1, but he didn't beat the best. So you got to put him in number 2. So I just don't understand this list. And Trey, to your point, it doesn't matter that he played in Detroit. Matt Stafford could have been playing anywhere, and he would have had a worse career than that. If he might as well have been playing for the Lions, the Lions might as well have been the Jets and the Browns all at the same time. Because that's how much he contributed to just one franchise, which was next to nothing. So for them to rank that, go ahead, man. Somebody take it away. That's just disrespectful, man.
Richie, your reactions. Marvin, he's played in 3 playoff seasons or games.
Here's what I'll say. I mean, I'm not even going to get into the Stafford thing because Marvin and I disagree about this. But we'll see him on a new team. This is his opportunity to try to impress Marvin. As far as the list,
opportunity.
Last opportunity. As far as
it was real quick, Rich. You know what's funny? Kevin Hart had Jalen Ramsey on one of his podcasts, and they broke the news to Jalen Ramsey that they just got Matthew Stafford, and then Jalen Ramsey was like, okay, that's what we got. Scratch his head. So that just already lets you know what the Rams are going to get this season. Now he could play better. He could be better. We don't know, but all I know is we've seen this movie before from Matthew Stafford, and he shouldn't be ranked ahead of any, especially an MVP than Lamar Jackson. Go ahead, man.
Okay. So here's what I'll say. He's an upgrade to Jared Goff, period. But anyways, let's move on. Kyler Murray being 10 over, Justin Herbert is ranked. To me, this is more blasphemous. Justin Herbert is ranked higher than Kyler Murray. Like, that's insane to me. That's like, I get he had a great season as a rookie, but there's a million people, and I know Marv's still not even gonna want me to say this, but for instance, Baker Mayfield had an amazing season last year. I know Marvin's already shaking his head, but the bottom line is, you had guys like Baker Mayfield and these other players. Honestly, Ryan Tannehill's not on this list. There's a lot of quarterbacks, but here's where this list is egregious. I don't think anyone is really thinking about this, but when I say this name, you'll realize, wow, how is he not even on this list? Deshaun Watson is not on this list. Deshaun Watson had a phenomenal season last year. We just mentioned rape allegations earlier, and I understand that's probably why ESPN didn't want to throw his name on here. But the bottom line is it should be Tom Brady number 1. In my opinion, Patrick Mahomes number 2. I don't care that Aaron Rodgers is the MVP. He's 38. Mahomes is fantastic. You put Aaron at number 3, and Deshaun Watson should be number 4, period. And then you put Russell Wilson at 5. If you're going to keep Matt Stafford on this list, he should be 10. like best case scenario.
Off the list.
Lamar Jackson being 8 is also a little weird to me. I think he should be like 7 or 6. And I know 7's a high number, but like I said, Deshaun Watson should be on this list. I personally think Josh Allen's year last year puts him above Lamar for this season. I don't, overall career, Lamar's fantastic, but Josh Allen had a tremendous season. Ryan Tannehill had an underrated season. He's not on here. I don't know who made this list, but clearly it's just not very vetted. How Tom Brady's not number 1 is just somebody who's a hater. It's just really that simple, because you can't just go by this isn't stat sheet nerd stuff. The bottom line is you win or you lose, and you're successful or not. And I love Aaron Rodgers, statistically one of the best, if not the best quarterback of all time. But the bottom line is he just doesn't win. That's why you can't put him above Tom Brady, and you can't put him and shouldn't put him above Patrick Mahomes. It's crazy. And I know he was second, but that's what I'm saying is a real list would easily have Tom Brady as number 1, Patrick Mahomes number 2, Aaron Rodgers number 3, Deshaun Watson number 4. He had nobodies, and he threw 5,000 yards, had 6 interceptions. I mean, he had a phenomenal season, and he's not on the list. Rape allegations or not, Disney has no room to be worrying about their image with what happened with the NBA reporters. We're not going to get into that, but the point is clearly they don't care about women's rights. So why are they worried about a rape allegation being on a list or not? Deshaun Watson is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's not on this list. Kyler Murray's getting a white boy's ahead of him that has played 1 season. Get out of here. This list is really garbage. I'll say this, 7 names on there should be on there, but they're not in the right order. So maybe a fortune cookie for your thoughts. I don't know. This really feels like 6 people just threw darts at names, and they're like, it looks good enough. It doesn't have to be accurate. So, I don't know.
I thought I enjoyed watching the rest of ESPN and Stephen A react to this list, but this is far more enjoyable. Trey, go for it, man.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off some points. I do think Deshaun Watson should definitely be on this list, top 10. I have no understanding why how Justin Herbert's ahead of Deshaun Watson. I don't know. I will say I'm partial to Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is a really good quarterback. He was in Detroit. That's all I have to say about that. And he should definitely be above Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott gets all of his yards in garbage time when they're from behind. Dak Prescott can't win with a squad. The only thing that saved Matthew Stafford from getting this kind of vitriol from me is the fact that he's played for the Detroit Lions, which have historically been a dumpster fire. Dak Prescott has had all the weapons around him, and he's still 8-8. Now he's going to be 8-1. Broken leg or not broken leg? Okay, that's where I'm gonna leave that. I don't know how they do the metrics on how they pick these 1 through 10, these quarterbacks. So I'm gonna leave it up to them. But I will say Justin Duvall. I will say Deshaun Watson definitely needs to be on this list. And I'm just looking at it. Yeah.
You
Lamar
can put
Jackson
me on there, Trey.
be higher. Lamar Jackson should definitely be higher. I think Justin Herbert shouldn't be on this list at all. He's been in the league 1 year. 1 year. Once defenses actually get tape on him, we'll see how good he is. But for right now, I can't. Yeah, I will say, Dak Prescott. Yeah. That's where I'm at. Yeah, Deshaun Watson should be on the list. This is egregious. I don't even know what to say about this list since Deshaun Watson. It shouldn't even count. It shouldn't even count.
Sahi has been so patient. I know the people are waiting. I'm waiting. Sahi, go for it.
Well, the case of Justin Herbert, I'm just going to say first, is you guys don't know Justin Herbert to say he doesn't belong on this list. Justin Herbert is a straight baller. I seen him firsthand when we played him earlier this season. Boy has a cannon. He can run. And he's super smart. So he deserves to be on this list. Does he deserve to be as high as he is? Maybe not. I'll agree with you guys. But he does deserve to be a part of the conversation. But that's not what's most important about this list, as we all know. All those other guys, past 3, it's whatever, you know? But I look at number 3 and I'm like, man, isn't it funny? Isn't it funny how they treat you when you give everything to the game? You give your blood, sweat, tears. You show them how it's supposed to be done year after year. And year after year, they disrespect you. Isn't that funny? Wow. The guy.
You're talking about Matthew Stafford?
No.
42 years old.
That was good, Justin. That was good. No, I'm not talking about Matthew Stafford. I'm talking about Thomas Edward Patrick Brady.
The third.
Skip Bayless. The third, as Skip Bayless would say. He should be number 1 on the list, man. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Bucs fan. Maybe I am. But he deserves to be number 1 on the top 10 list. Super Bowl champion 7 times. What other quarterback has done that? The object of the game is to win. And what's the highest you can win is the Super Bowl. He's done it 7 times, and he's coming back for more. So if he's not number 1 on the list, there's something wrong with whoever made the list. And shout out to Giselle, his wife. She asked him after the Super Bowl, what else do you have to prove? Obviously, he's got more to prove, Giselle. Somebody's putting him 3rd on the top 10 quarterback list. You know, we can't do this anymore. Stop putting disrespect on Tom Brady's name. Yeah, because, you know what I'm saying? The disrespect just has to stop. You know what I'm saying? Him not being number 1 on the top 10, you know what I'm saying? This Daddy Brady. You know what I'm saying? Hashtag Daddy Brady. You know what I'm saying? Over the whole league. How are you gonna be number 3? You got to be number 1, man. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, all right. The floor is open for rebuttal on anybody's point if we want to open any wounds.
To be fair to you, Richie, I put Baker Mayfield. I replaced Baker Mayfield with Matt Stafford on that list.
No, Marvin, get out of here.
If that's what we're going, and that's fine. I'll do that. How about that? I'll replace him with Baker Mayfield. How about that?
Baker Mayfield has to show Baker.
Yeah.
He ain't showed y'all nothing?
He's got everything. He's got everything he needs on that squad this year. Yeah. He's got 2 running backs. He's got a tight end. He's got
2 wide receivers,
and he's got one of the best. He's got top 5 offensive line.
Yeah.
What is he going to do?
I don't think anybody could win with that team. It take a kind of special guy, and I think Baker Mayfield is a kind of special guy. You know what I'm saying? He just has the right system, the right pieces, and I think that's going to work out good for him in Cleveland the way the roster is constructed now. But he's not a Russell Wilson, like let the Baker bake. You know what I'm saying? There won't be any of those slogans anywhere. It's just like, Baker, you're a high functioning game manager. You know what I'm saying? We could count on you to make plays, but don't get too fancy. Hand this ball off, and we're gonna call this play action, and we're gonna win some games.
First of all,
Baker Mayfield.
Your slogan, Baker, let Baker bake, I think is something different than football. When I think let Baker. But in all seriousness, that might be a t-shirt for him down the road. But in all seriousness, I'll tell you what, Marv, I'll take it. Even though I love Matt Stafford, again, Baker's statistics aren't like all these other gentlemen who are 4,000 plus. You also have to remember he plays in the AFC North. All these guys don't play against defenses except for Russell Wilson. He's the only guy that really plays against a real defense. So, for him to go 3,800 yards sounds not that impressive. Odell Beckham Jr., really wasn't in his groove. I'm going to cut him some slack on that. He only had 6 interceptions. Maybe it was 8 to 30 something touchdowns. I mean, I'm not saying he's the second coming of Jesus, but Cleveland sucks now. And for the first time in a long time, they have a team. I'm not a Cleveland fan. I'm a Cincinnati fan, just to clarify. But I think Baker had a phenomenal season, and to see a guy who, again, I'm with Sahi. Justin Herbert is incredible, just like Joe Burrow is incredible, but they haven't done anything yet. It's easy to throw tin can stats when you're losing, because you're down by 50 points every game. To Trey's point with Dak Prescott, it's easy to sit there and chuck the ball when you're not running the ball. But, Baker has 2 running backs who can go over 100 yards. So, of course, he's not going to get to throw as much as these other guys. And he had a phenomenal season. And to see somebody like Justin Herbert make this list over somebody like Baker, who, for the first time before I was born almost, won a playoff game against his division rival Pittsburgh Steelers, So Daddy Brady, all that stuff. You know what, Tom? This is why Tom Brady keeps playing, because people give him no respect. He's never been the best quarterback ever, even though he is. Every year, somebody's better than him. Peyton Manning for most of his career. He's better than Tom Brady. He throws 5,000 yards, all this bull stuff they always said. And then Aaron Rodgers is statistically better, and Patrick Mahomes is better. Nobody has ever been like Tom Brady's the best quarterback. The only time they talk about it in reference to wins. But year in and year out, this is exactly what happens. And that's why this stupid man is still playing. You guys need to stop it. I want him to retire. I'm sick of seeing him win Super Bowls. Please just stop. I'm telling you, the moment Tom Brady's ranked number 1 is the moment he's finally going to be like, I can rest at ease now. But I feel like he's going to be like Jim Thorpe and playing till he's 48, because every year he is never the number 1 ranked quarterback. And it's just stupid at this point. How can you argue? He had nothing. He didn't get to do any training camp. He played during COVID. He didn't know what he was doing. His coach is making him throw the long ball and not play the way he likes to play. And he still won the Super Bowl. And you gonna sit here and put him at 3?
Yeah. I wrote an article / blog about Tom Brady. I refuse to do any more Tom Brady slander. I was one of those haters that was like, he cheats everywhere he goes and all, but I've hung it up. Tom Brady is the GOAT. I mean, 7 Super Bowls, and he went to another team. He did everything that Richard just said, and he won another Super Bowl. Yeah, no more Tom Brady slander. I just won't talk about him that often. That's just
like I said, let's keep him out of our mouths so he'll just go away. He's so good, but and the thing, I think the biggest intangible is not the stats. It's his ability to influence and actually be a leader for his teammates. And if you guys get the chance, I'll send it in the link, and we'll probably put it on the H2G link as well. There's a really incredible moment. They were getting blasted by the Saints. I believe it was 43-6 that game. It was the one game where he played poorly. And it was one of these where he did this. But he really had an inspiring speech where he was talking to his guys, and he was like, look, like, sometimes you aren't going to win the game, but let's just try to have some good drives, and like, that's a real motivator. He could have just been, like on the bench with his head down. And, like, I really think the biggest reason he wins is, even though he may not have the best arm like Aaron Rodgers, or he may not have all the statistics, he leads his guys to win the game. And it's very evident based on his Super Bowls.
Anybody else? We feeling okay? Everybody can rest on Daddy Brady belonging at number 1.
Daddy Brady.
Hashtag Daddy Brady. There is at least one Kansas City fan that watches this show every week that's really upset at that hashtag, but we'll put it across the bottom of the screen. Let us know, folks, what's wrong with the top 10. Let us know what's going on with the NBA and anything that you heard today. What should Connor do? If you have an opinion, please let us know. If you want to be a part of the show, you can find us right, like I said, in the comments on Facebook and YouTube, or on our contact tab on the website. You can always find us www.h2gpodcast.com, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and where all audio podcasts are found. For The Wire this week, enjoy the rest of, what's left of this game 4, and we'll see you next week.
Yep.
Tom Brady did play some defenses, arguably one of the most historic defenses.
I wish Tony was here because I remember last year he was getting on me that Ben Roethlisberger deserved the $36 million.